mark, but unfortunately it didn't turn me into Bert again, which of course is very, very useful. It's the most useful thing to be in Bert form for the most part, especially on those bosses that are just run in and try to do as much damage as you possibly can before they end up killing you, which is actually a good chunk of the enemies throughout the course of this game. As we continue to make our way through level 2, just killing basic regular enemies, and just the normal enemies are great to look at. I mean, you have it's like pretty much the reverse of a mermaid. I mean, you have human legs and a fish head. It's just one of those cool things. It's kind of funny as that stupid thing opens up. If I had the baseball bat and could knock that bubble right back into it, it would instantly kill that stupid little plant thing, but since unfortunately I'm in Bert form, it's the only downside to being in Bert form pretty much is you can't reflect the projectiles back at some of the enemies. Okay, here we go with the third and final boss from level 2. This is a haunted, well, it's a haunted well that shoots random coins, it looks at us, like kind of like a wishing well type of thing, where you would flip coins randomly into a well to make a wish. Basically, this well is like, well, you know what, I'm sick and I'm fed up of having coins thrown in me. I'm going to spend them back at you. Now, I wish I could walk by a random well and just spit money back up at me. I'd, take it and pocket whatever pennies and nickels that were probably thrown in there. But either way, we take him out. We have the key, and now we're going to continue on working our way through level 2. We only have a little bit farther till we get to the end and actually get to the door where we enter and can head on to the next level. As I hate their stupid plant things, I just didn't feel like waiting for it to shoot the stupid bubble at me. I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to continue walking and just get right past this thing. There we go. I killed that one, so one of them died at least. Okay, that's going to wrap up level 2. We're going to get a little bit of a health bonus, which is very, very useful, of course. We have one of the strange passwords. This game's password system is ridiculous. It has all uppercase letters and all the lowercase letters, plus numbers and symbols. I mean, in order to figure out what exactly it is, I mean, you have to have, like, lowercase s, followed by uppercase s, followed by lowercase t, 3 uppercase letters, followed by 0, 1, and it's only 9 letters or numbers or symbols long, but half the time I wrote down the passwords as a kid, and I just couldn't remember if I put a capital C or a lowercase c, and then it's like, okay, the stupid password didn't take, so now I just gotta pretty much rebeat the game up to that point. So I was just trying, when I finally beat this game, I think I just did it in one single sit through, because the passwords would never seemingly work. It's just one of those games where the passwords are pretty much useless. Then again, it's probably because I had horrible handwriting, and still do, and I could never read my own writing correctly. Here we do battle with one of the more interesting bosses again. This is a giant green bull, that throws mini cows at us. I don't know if you can really hear it. I was going to shut up for a second so you could hear it, but unfortunately he died so quickly. He actually does make a mooing sound as he's launching little tiny cows at you, which is a nice little touch. It's another one of those little things that makes the game cool. In kind of that quirky sense, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Earthbound in that way, or Mother, or whatever you want to call it. Just because Mother has those few boss battles, throughout, or regular enemy battles that have a special song specifically for it. Like, for example, of course, Mother 1, you have the Retro Hippie battle that has a specific song made just for it. We actually do have a couple boss battles in this game that have specific songs made just for them. So that's pretty cool. I also think the fact that I'm collecting a key to get to the end of a level and open a door is a little bit reminiscent, and plus the opening dialogue and the fact there is an opening storyline and all, just reminds me a little bit of Little Nemo, which is always good too. Another great game. If you're going to have anything that reminds you of a game, let it be a good game. And it's another one of those things that reminds me of a good game. Now this game came out in 1989, so it's right at the end of that 80s NES era, so not quite before the 90s era. The SNES wasn't out yet, so this was definitely one of those releases that could have really done well. I actually kind of have it in the same boat as Kabuki Quantum Fighter. It's just a great game that I don't think enough people heard of. I think people heard more of this game, thankfully, than Kabuki Quantum Fighter, but both games are great. They both tell a storyline, have cool boss battles, and some cool things throughout the game that just make them so cool. As I've just said probably cool like 100 times during the course of the span of a few seconds, but regardless of that, continuing on, as I am now Pink Bert, and I'm getting ready to fight a giant spider. Now, of course, if you remember from level 1, we actually did battle with a spider that was already dead, and it was an instant win. Well, this is pretty much the equivalent of that spider had it been alive. There actually is another giant spider in the game later on, but unfortunately we will not do battle with it because there's actually another level that kind of tricks you. In effect, there's 3 bosses, just like all the other levels, but you're only supposed to kill 2 of them, because if you kill the 3rd one, you end up losing the key that you gained from killing the 2nd one. It's just another one of those things that kind of tricks you. I mean, I would end up beating all 3 bosses, get to the top of the level, I'm like, why in the hell don't I have my key? It's just one of those things. As we now enter level 4, which is kind of an Egyptian-style tomb level, even though it should be like a yellowish or, brown, orange, it's a blue, which is fine. Why not? Moving down, apparently there is alligators, of course. I guess Nile alligators have made it into a random Egyptian pyramid, even though this is Bert's world, which seemingly has a lot of things that could have been from Earth. Then again, I think the ending kind of explains how this could have happened to a point. So, when we get to that, you'll see it. I don't want to spoil it yet. As I am jumping past that scorpion to come up to this area so I can do battle with a boss. And here we go. I am a Slowpoke. It's a giant samurai warrior's armor. Just the armor, walking around, shooting little mini swords at us. Which, of course, we can take him out right at his knees with the baseball bat. Or we can reflect a bunch of the random swords that he throws out right back at him in order to do damage to him. And after a few key hits, he ends up falling over, falls down on his knees, breaks apart. Little spirit comes out. And it releases, of course, the little question mark, opens the door. And now we are allowed to continue on in this level. As I am going to drop down here and head this long path. It's one of those long paths that if you accidentally went to the top area, you would have to retreat and come all the way down here because this path takes you to a boss area. And here we go. Here's another one of the fun bosses. Meow Meow. It's a cat that turns evil and throws like little mini cats at you. Or I'm not really quite sure. They just could be cat toys. I'd say they were little mini cats, I'll be honest. It's one of those NES graphic things that I'm not sure. But either way, I get up close to him, jump up at the right time, and as you jump and throw the bat out, you actually can hit him 3, good times before hitting the ground. So he is actually one of the easier bosses to have to deal with. Any of the bosses that kind of just stand still and don't really move around, they're the easiest as far as I'm concerned in this game. This stupid scorpion ended up hitting me with the crap it keeps throwing out. They could be rocks or they could be, crap. Either way, I don't like the projectiles that scorpion throws out. I also like the animation of the fact that it's actually one of the few games. You always wonder in Mario, when you just keep hitting your head on blocks, how does Mario's neck, not break, or how does he not hurt his head, And in this game, when you jump up and hit your head on the ceiling, it kind of like bends your neck down or like crunches you down. So there's a little neat thing that they added, that little bit of extra animation to the main character when he jumps into ceilings. As I'm going to skip that door, it's one of those blank, empty doors. There actually will be a level where I enter a couple of the empty rooms just because they really aren't empty. They actually have a bonus. Now here is one of the best boss battles. It has its own special music. It's the punk rock battle. You pretty much fight the upper torso of this punk rocker, shooting a bunch of random shots at him. Doesn't take many hits, especially in Bert form, to do damage to him. He, of course, gives us the key, as he is the final boss that we have to deal with in level 4. And now we just gotta work our way over to the right and get to the exit in order to move on to the next level. Which in the next level has one of the best bosses, probably in not just this game's history, but probably in NES history. If you had a top, 20 list of NES bosses, I think this one would just have to sneak in there just for comedic effect. And we'll get to that one in just a few minutes. As I work my way over, killing this random scorpion. Pick up that question mark item, and I'm going to kill another alligator. Watch out for the scorpion, get under the rock, come on, wait for it, time it, there we go. And there we go, there's the exit, and now we're going to get, of course, a little bit of extra bonus health, and be able to complete round 4 as we now head to round number 5. Round 5 start. And this one's an outdoor style level, kind of reminiscent of what would be a level from like Amagon, for example, or any of the other forest style levels in NES games. There's a lot of them. This is, but it kind of is more reminiscent of that. So now turn back into regular Mark with now a pink outfit on.